Okay, I'm going to be removing the front bumper on a Toyota Land Cruiser 2024. Where the license plate is right now, I'm going to be putting on a Nilight light bar slash license plate, kind of small crash bar. I live near New York City, and every time I got to park on the street, it's just good to have a little buffer. Any of you guys know in the metro areas that, anything to protect the first initial bump is probably a good thing. I'll probably have to reinforce the back of it with some aluminum strips, which I bought. First step here is to remove this panel here. In order to do so, what you do is push in these little buttons on top of the tab, and then it pops right free once you do that. And just as a matter of good practice, I like to put all the same parts as I go along in individual plastic bags. So a little baggie like this. Sometimes I label it if I'm doing a bigger job, but right now there should be just probably about 5 or 6 different pieces I'll be popping out, but this will be kind of the first step. Okay, I got that top piece removed. There's I think 7 or 8 of those little tabs that you got to remove. This is what it looks like with that off. Next step is to come underneath the car here, and there's 2 panels on each side. These guys right here, those are 10mm sockets, so I'll be pulling those off and setting them aside just like I did. So I'll do the left and the right. Okay, when you're taking off these little front lip spoiler guards here, there's going to be 2 tabs just like this. Just pop those out with a flathead and you should be in good shape. Okay, got both sides off here, as you can see. Next step is to remove this piece here, which is just a center lip here. It looks like there's just 2 bolts. Those are also 10mm, and then just one little plug in the middle. And then I'll set that aside. Okay, got that piece removed. Very simple. You got to put a little bit on it to get those bolts off. They're torqued down a bit. Next step is to remove these fender trims here, and I believe tabs here on the inside. Same 10mm, and probably any of those little clips again. Okay, as you're taking off this fender trim, you're gonna have to probably remove this mud flap, and then I think these pry off. Most of these are just clips. There's only 1 bolt in the front. The rest of these all the way around are just those little clips that you pop out. Okay, to get that fender piece off, you're gonna have to remove this rear mud flap. There's 2 bolts here and here, and then 1 pin, and then there's just 1 underneath here where that is. And then once you get that, you can remove this fender trim. Most of them are on by these little tabs that you just removed. There's only like 1 screw in the front so far, and okay, I got the right side off. Yeah, once you get this rear mud flap off, actually there's 3 bolts, 1 little clip. This is what it looks like on the fender trim, and you just gotta lightly pull and it should pop out. You just have like these little tabs here holding them in on each side, and then you can see here where they go in. So 1 here, and then just all the way around. Right side of the car now, same thing. Just those bolts, a couple clips, all the way around. And then you get down to here, do the mud flap again, just 2 bolts there, 1 clip, and then another bolt on the back side. And then we'll pop off this fender trim. Okay, got that fender trim off on that side. Rear mud flap. Now I guess this is the main part of removing this bumper. What you got to do here, I guess, is this bolt here, this one here, this here. So it's going to be these couple of bolts here all the way around, and then there's an end clip, and that should pop that off. Okay, I got all the bolts off the top and at the bottom. Got the pins out. So supposedly it detaches like this. So come down here, this part, and that part, that all pops off. And then same on this side. So I think I just got to gently tug on that, and then probably have to unclip that wire for the fogs. Okay, now to get this off, you just kind of got to wiggle this whole thing. I'm probably going to grab from the top up here, and then from the bottom here, and then pull this way. As you can see, there's a clip in here, and there's probably one other right there on that side. and then it'll be the same thing on this way. And these clips also disengage here. So I cleared the area. We'll set that down kind of gently. Have all the other parts set aside here, and that should drop that off. Okay, that actually worked. I just pulled on those same areas I just said on the top, and then that lower hand side on both sides, both the left and the right. Pulled that down, and I just have 2 wires here that I gotta unclip for the fogs, and I should be able to take this inside. Okay, there's a wire harness in here that you need to get to. This is gonna be on the driver's side. This cord is usually wrapped right around here, so it's a little tight. Just pulling on this bumper. I actually put a box down here just to prop that up. There you can see what it is right there. Looks like it's just one of those tab connectors. Just need to pop that out with a screwdriver. Okay, when you take off this clip here, you're gonna see a couple of grooves there. Push down on that, and that's just gonna release this top tab. You see that little ridge? If you see that little right there, that'll be enough just to push it down so you can then pull away. And I'll have to do that on the other side as well. Okay, of course this side's going to be a little bit different. This is the clip here. There's a tab at the bottom here that you have to push in and then pull that away. So I'm going to give that a shot. Okay, so that actually worked, but what you do is instead, there's a little tab here. You push that and it allows you to lift this gray piece up. And as soon as you do that, it pulls it out of the socket here. So it just kind of pushes that away and then allows you to free up that wire. Okay, I've spent hours so far trying to figure this out. Finally think I've got it. But as you can see here behind this bumper, there is just so much stuff. There's an automated air dam here that's wired up. There's not much structural reinforcement through there. It's really just a couple of pieces of plastic mated together. And then you got that gap down at the bottom. So what I had to do basically is drill through the front of the bumper right down in there. So I had to drill that out. And what I'm doing is putting a backing plate on the inside with some strips of some reinforced aluminum in order to give it a little bit more rigidity. But the hope is to mount this light bar through there and then probably thread it either from the opposite side or down from the beginning. But bought some nylon washers doing 5/16, and I'll just do that on the other side. And I probably need to mount then another set, which I'm hoping will somehow pop through here. This piece here does not come off so easily. I have tried. There's a couple of screws like here, these tabs that just go along all the way down, but then I think there's just clips on the inside that make it really difficult to pop off. I undid this wiring harness here, put it off the rails, and then just unclipped it. But either way, this thing is not really coming off, but it's giving me enough wiggle room to kind of stick my hand down in between those slotted gaps right there. This was really tricky, really sucked actually. I didn't have much fun doing this at all. So I put a wrench down there, put a little piece of masking tape so I know which side is actually to tighten. Drop that down there with a magnet, got the other brace in place. Because I used aluminum, it wasn't so magnetic, but I tapped it a few times with the magnet. It became a little sticky. Dropped the washer in there and then put the actually the nylon nut on top of that, and used the magnet to kind of hold it on there and twist it a bit just to catch that initial thread. And then from the other side basically came around with the socket, which I'll show you here in a second. But then that was able to tighten up, and that locked in place and was able to torque that down. So basically This is the bar that's on there. This is the mounting screws on each side. Okay, so I flipped this over, drilled out 2 holes, one here, just to pin this down even more. I'm gonna try to then anchor it on the back side in a similar fashion. Again, I used the 5/16-18 stainless from Home Depot. A lot easier to find than doing the M8s because you can't really find stainless, only zinc. And just wanted to make sure I could get the most rust proof as possible. So just gonna go through this now, do some similar I did up front and on the top 2, and then just try to button that up in the back. Okay, now you can get a better look at what I actually did here. So these are the 2 bolts on the bottom, and I basically fabricated these brackets here, drilled that out. I'm gonna brace that so it can go through, and then distribute the weight a little bit more evenly across this. Something like this. We'll have to see how that goes on. And then just so you know, I did 2.5 on the bottom. I did 1.5 at the top in terms of length. I wanted that to poke through a little bit more at the bottom so I could brace that up against where I have it there now. But that should give you a little bit more clarity of what I was actually trying to do from the top, but you couldn't really see it on the inside. Okay, here you have it. Got the front ones on at the bottom and pinned it at the back, as I was saying before. With those 2 braces, should be enough to at least distribute the weight. Just need to button this thing up and then try to put it back on. Okay, I got this mounted back here. Sorry I didn't walk through what to do, but just reverse what I did. First thing I started out with is I hung the bumper and just loosely tightened these bolts here right on the top, and then it just kind of fell down naturally. Then you're gonna see like a main clip here, and then a few along this ridge, and then you'll have one that actually goes in like a little port that you just gotta line up, and then you just kind of push that direction, and then same thing with this bumper. It'll just kind of click in, and then you do the same thing on this side. Before you clip all that in, make sure you reattach the wiring harness that's down at the bottom here. This was just hanging. You just kind of clip it back in and then rock that gray arm forward that was there. And then same thing on this side. There's a wire that's underneath that you just need to slide back in, and then you basically have this back on. So now I just need to put down that underskirt and then the 2 side fairings, and then start doing the front spoiler lips as well. Okay, just gonna hang this fender trim back on. Basically just line this back up. Should be pretty straightforward. And then snap it into place. And I believe there's a clip down here that just needs to go to the side a little bit. It goes into that slot. That just clicked in, and then there's only a few bolts that just go with a little bit of those snap screws in here, and then I think you just tack only a few spots with an actual screw. Okay, just need to hang this piece now underneath, back to where this was. Just goes up here. Okay, now I just need to hang these front spoilers up here. Okay, the last piece to put on is just this little shroud back over here. It's just a couple clips, I think 1 or 2 screws, and that's pretty much it. And then this is the kind of the final product. All that just to put that on. Of course, it says step 1 is remove the bumper. If it wasn't so hard to get to those top bolts, it would have not taken that long at all, probably just a few hours. But I still have to hang the lights, which I'll do here in a second. Okay, here's the final mount. I use the PL lights. I usually have these on my BMW motorcycle, so kind of I've sworn by these for a number of years. But these are the driving lights, so it should get long distance. And I just mounted that with a few spacers, as you can probably see. I used a couple of washers there, those fender washers. That way I could get it to aim down a bit so it won't kill too many people with the lights. But all in all, pretty good. It just those top screws were the hardest part. I was shocked that the bumper clipped back on as easy as it did, and everything buttoned up pretty nicely. But that's pretty much it. At least that's the front bumper remover and putting on this Nilight crash bar / light bar.